Hello and welcome. In 2019, it seemed like we were at the pinnacle of movie theater experiences. We had some of the biggest movies coming out. When a movie came out, it was like billions of dollars some of these movies were doing. And we had The Avengers, which was a big deal in 2018, 2019. We had the final theatrical release that we've had so far of Star Wars. And before that, we had a lot of good movies that were coming out that people were wanting to go to a physical theater and watch. But and then 2020 happened. Something happened that year. And it kind of just all went downhill after that. But I feel like there needs to be some changes, otherwise movie theaters are just gonna pass away like my grandparents. When the Avengers Endgame movie came out, I went and saw that movie in theaters like 2-3 times. I haven't done that since that movie. And I saw movies before that multiple times in the theater. I feel like 2010 to 2019, movie theaters had like this resurgence of importance. People wanted to go there because movies were exciting. We had some big movies coming out during those years. And over the last 4 years, I don't think it's the movie theater's fault. I don't think people aren't interested in just going out and seeing a good movie. I think the quality of movies and what studios are putting out are making movie theaters die. And me saying something like that isn't some sort of new information or new idea that's coming about. I mean, tons of YouTubers talk about this. So if it's something that you've already heard, I understand that it might be boring to you at this point. But it's still fascinating to me. I mean, you see the numbers of the Avengers Endgame and how much money it made. And then you see even the first Carol Danvers Captain Marvel movie and how much money it made because it was taking place before the Avengers Endgame. And then you see the lack of interest in Captain Marvel 2. And is it because people don't care about that character? Or is it because the quality that the movie is carrying isn't the same as what they were doing before? And you can go on and on about the Marvel movies. I didn't like Thor: Love and Thunder. I thought some aspects of it were great. But compared to Thor Ragnarok, it wasn't there for me. But I can't say that about all of the Marvel movies. I mean, I liked the last Spider-Man that came out. I think everybody did. That was generally a welcomed movie. Had some great stories, great acting. You got to see all 3 Spider-Men. And then I really liked Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I think it carried the trilogy of movies. It carried on with the funny aspects of the first 2. But it carried more weight for those characters. And due to the closing of everything in 2020 and 2021, you had studios that were just putting out a lot of streaming content, which is kind of carried on even today, where you have what seems like bigger budget movies or even shows that turn into movies and stuff like that. And they're just being streamed out to the public, and it's not coercing moviegoers to go to a physical theater, sit in a seat, and have an experience in front of a large screen. Good examples of this would be like Star Wars, what they've done with all their shows. Some of them are decent. Marvel, they've done the same thing. Some of them are decent. I liked Loki season 1. I liked WandaVision. I thought they were good quality. What they did with Wanda's character afterwards in the movie, hated it. Hated it a lot. Doesn't make any sense to me in the long run. But then you had like great movies that were coming out during that time that didn't get the chance to thrive in a theater. Movies like Luca. Luca was a great movie. I turned it on for my son one day in the background because I was like, well, this is just released to Disney Plus. Probably isn't that good. I don't care to watch it. Here you go. Turned it on. And listening to it in the background while I was cleaning up my house, while my son was watching it, I was like, this is a good movie. And I feel like there's a lot of movies like that during that time period that just got that streaming service treatment that made movies start to die off, because that's one aspect of it. The other aspect, the quality of the movies. The other aspect is people are expecting good quality movies to just be released onto an app that they can watch for free and not have to leave their home. Then we had another movie, that movie with Chris Pratt, where he kind of goes back in the past. No. He goes into the future. Sorry. He goes into the future to fight off this alien invasion horde thing that the future they've lost all their soldiers and they can't hold off the horde. So he's sent there. I can't remember what that movie's called. I'll put it up here. But anyway, that movie was great. Big budget, quality movie. I would have loved to see something like that in theater. It was a good movie. Then the other problem is original content, original scripts, original movies being pushed out into theaters. I remember the experience of going to see A Quiet Place in theater with my wife. That was a great movie. Was it the best alien scary movie of all time or the most scariest movie? No, it wasn't. But it was a cool experience in the theater. When you went into the theater and everybody was quiet, I mean, all the movie, everybody was quiet. That doesn't happen with most movies. Everybody was quiet, even while they were eating their popcorn. You could tell people were like, I gotta eat this as quiet as possible. And I enjoyed that movie because of that, because it made sound a big part of the movie. It was another character within the film. And that was a fun, unique idea that made me want to go to the theater and watch it. And that was another movie that I went and I saw multiple times. I saw it twice in the theater. First with my wife, second with more family. And I think what we're doing now is we're lacking original ideas. And it's something that's been brought up a lot by other YouTubers and critics, is that studios are afraid of just making lower budget movies and hoping that they do well, because the lower budget movies might have a unique idea. They want big, multi-million dollar movies that have, explosions and stuff happening in space, time travel, wars, all this type of stuff. And that's all well and good, and those movies have their place. But lower budget, great ideas also have their place. But nothing's really been sucking me into the theater like that makes me want to sit down and watch a movie. I've been invited to go to some different movies, and the only ones that really attract me to going are movies that have already been out for years, that they're just doing a theatrical release again, like Return of the Jedi, or they're doing Aliens in theaters right now, I believe. And they're just doing older movies that people want to go and they want to see it on the big screen and have that theatrical experience. And I remember doing stuff like that when I was a kid. I remember, I think it was either A New Hope or Empire Strikes Back. I went and I saw that in the theater. I remember sitting there, little kid, big soda, and a large bag of Reese's Pieces. And just sitting there and watching that movie. And I had watched that movie during my childhood already, and I've watched it all through adulthood. I would go back and I'd see some of these movies in theaters again, because I feel like that is some of the only decent, high quality, good stuff that's happening in theaters consistently, is reruns, theatrical re-releases of older movies. Now, is this the death of movie theaters? Probably not. I really don't think so. In the end, I really think movie theaters are just going to keep pumping stuff out, and enough people are going to go and keep watching it where they're going to keep living, unlike my grandparents. But what I do think they need to do, I think studios need to take a step back. They need to look at their content, look at their movies, look at their TV shows, and say, what worked in those movies back then? What worked in those TV shows back then? What's working now? Let's cut out the rest of it. If it's not working, let's quit trying to make it work. I'm not saying that new ideas or other things are bad. I'm just saying, after a while, if something's not working and it was profitable and enjoyable to the moviegoers, maybe stop it. Stop it.